Luxury fashion brands have one serious problem. They are struggling to convince you their prices are worth it.
I'll never buy luxury brands products ever again.
I'm over designer handbags.
Somebody who's always bought new luxury handbags, I will not be doing it anymore.
I want to get all these designer things for myself, but I really cannot afford it.
For over a decade, the luxury industry seemed untouchable, driven by hype, aspiration, and an insatiable global appetite for status. From 2015 to 2022, luxury wasn't just surviving, it was soaring. Even a global pandemic only paused the party. When restrictions lifted, a tidal wave of revenge spending pushed luxury revenues to an all-time high.
That much-awaited revenge spending after the end of COVID lockdowns is finally kicking in.
Businesses that have had to shut up shop for the entirety of lockdown couldn't wait to get back into the swing of things, and their customers were equally happy to see them.
But fast forward to today and the glitter is starting to fade. Earlier this month, Saks Fifth Avenue released a luxury pulse survey. It reported that only 28% of luxury shoppers feel confident in the economy, and even among high-income earners, those making over $200,000 a year, spending intent has dropped by 15 percentage points. And what's changed? It's not just inflation, it's values. Many consumers are questioning whether the price still reflects the product, whether luxury still means quality. So what's next for the world's most exclusive industry? Can it evolve, or is luxury itself being redefined? Today we're going to explore why luxury is losing its luster and what it will take to shine again. The latest Saks Luxury Pulse survey, published on June the 17th, 2025, reveals a significant decline in luxury consumer sentiment, making the lowest level since the survey's inception in April 2023. The report outlined that only 28% of respondents expressed confidence in the broader economy, a 13% decrease from January 2025, and a 17% drop from April 2024. The report also outlined overall personal financial optimism and reported that among high-income individuals earning $200,000 or more, 67% reported feeling financially prepared, indicating a relative sense of personal financial stability. And one of the report's more scandalous findings was around a luxury spending intentions decline. Just 47% of luxury consumers said that they plan to maintain or increase their luxury spending over the next 3 months, the lowest figure recorded since the survey began. Among higher income respondents, this number dipped further to 48%, down 15 percentage points from both the previous quarter and the same period last year. These figures indicate that even the highest earners are demonstrating a disinterest in spending on luxury. Now, I don't think that this survey has necessarily highlighted anything that we don't know. At the moment, all of the reporting around luxury has indicated that there is a luxury slowdown.
LVMH earlier this month reporting sales growth of 9%. Doesn't sound bad, but that was half the level of earlier quarters. LVMH stock down now 24% from its highs. The owner of Gucci and Saint Laurent saw North American sales down 21%. Even Hermes, which beat on sales and is always the strongest of those luxury players, has seen its stock down 12%. Analysts say the most discretionary items from aspirational brands are most at risk right now.
And that no matter how wealthy or how much money you have, that there is a general disinterest in spending on luxury brands.
There's a resistance and a revolution happening right now in the luxe goods space right now. The luxe goods space is going to take a nosedive because the mob isn't going to allow it. And the whole thing is turning upside down, which is why I've sold dozens of luxe goods bags. Do not care about it at all anymore.
I do think that this is complex and do some deeper dives into what might be the reason for this in some of my other videos. But I do think the reason for this shift in consumer behavior includes a mix of issues, including concerns around quality, constant unhinged price increases, the economic downturn, and financial pressures. Emily Esner, President and Chief Commercial Officer of Saks Global, acknowledged the impact of macroeconomic uncertainty on consumer behavior. She emphasized Saks' commitment to adapting by showcasing the value of their luxury offerings and enhancing personalized personalised shopping experiences. Esna did also express her confidence that luxury consumers, historically known for their resilience, will return to luxury shopping as the economic conditions improve. And I don't think that Emily is completely wrong here. I do agree that some luxury consumers will return to luxury shopping once economic pressures ease. However, I do think that some luxury brands are a bit confident in anticipating this recovery and are not focusing on some of the other reasons for this change in consumers' behaviour that sit outside of economic pressures. I don't think the reason for the luxury slowdown and the disinterest in luxury spending is just because everyone is feeling financial pressures. In my opinion, the current state of the luxury market is the result of what seems like a perfect storm, a mix of changes in consumer values and desires, the rise of social media, quality concerns, and economic pressures, along with some political instability, has worked to create unfamiliar territory for most luxury brands. In the last 20 years, we have seen changing patterns in luxury purchasing intent. Between 2005 and 2007, there was slow but steady growth. The trend during this time seemed to be cautious optimism. Post-2008 recovery led to gradual increases in luxury spending, and the rise in middle class within China and the Gulf states meant that there was a growing interest in luxury. There also seemed to be a slight shift with more interest in experiential luxury.
Luxury's always been about status and access. That once came from owning things, now it's about experiences that you can share on social media. Being part of something. In times of recession, experiences often seem higher value than things. It's about invitation, permission to participate in the lifestyle without fully buying in, to be seen as part of a community.
We also saw the rise of luxury e-commerce platforms like My Teresa and Net-a-Porter, and millennials and Gen Zs were showing interest in aspirational brands. There also seemed to be an evolving of drop culture, and influencer marketing was driving demand. During this time, there was strong purchasing intent. Pretty much everybody was interested in spending, particularly in fashion, accessories, and beauty. But in 2020, we saw the pandemic crash. COVID-19 lockdowns halted in-store shopping and essentially changed the face of in-person shopping forever. Travel restrictions slashed duty-free and luxury tourism sales, and economic uncertainty reduced consumer confidence. 2020 was a pivotal moment for the luxury industry, and many like it. There was a massive dip in intent, especially in in-person luxury retail. However, the luxury industry did see a bounce back, and in 2021 and 2022, there was what you could call revenge spending as lockdowns eased, with some consumers who hadn't had the chance to get out and about and spend taking up the opportunity to buy what they could once the lockdowns eased. I think part of this also had to do with the uncertainty of the time. Although some lockdowns were easing up, there wasn't a real clear indication about whether we would be re-entering into a lockdown, whether the COVID pandemic would continue to spread, and what the political response would be. And so I think a lot of consumers were kind of not sure about how much their life was going to change for the foreseeable future, and took the opportunity of shops reopening to spend, and also maybe spend a bit for just in case lockdowns and restrictions were put in place again. During this time, online luxury platforms like Farfetch continued to flourish, and in some parts of the world, stimulus money and low interest rates increased disposable income. Luxury consumers also began to embrace resale, NFTs, and metaverse experiences. As a result, between 2021 and 2022, there were record sales in several markets, with growth fueled by younger consumers. But by 2023, we were seeing early warning signs of a plateau. There was softening demand, partly due to inflation and interest rate hikes. I think one of the outcomes of the pandemic was a shift in human behavior to being more online, and part of this consequence led to increased consumer scrutiny of value and quality. I think a lot of us ended up trying to find connections online, engaging on platforms like YouTube and Instagram. I think that this adjustment in socializing led to increased conversations amongst luxury consumers about their luxury experiences, the quality of the items that they've bought, what they've bought, whether they like it. And this led to growing skepticism around hype luxury versus true craftsmanship. As a result, 2023 saw a slight decline in purchasing intent, especially in Europe and North America. By 2024, there was a noticeable drop in consumer intent. Again, this was partly due to the global economic slowdown. And during this time, more than 50 million luxury customers dropped out of the market. And this is a trend that we saw across social media. A quick search of luxury shopping on YouTube and you'll find tons of videos around the luxury slowdown and the reasons for it. Plenty of video and written articles critiquing the behaviour of luxury brands. And in 2024, I think the general conclusion from most luxury customers was that luxury no longer equals quality. 66% of consumers during this time shared that they wait for discounts or delay purchases. Value for money became more important than brand prestige. As a result, 2024 saw a significant dip in intent and confidence, especially among mid-level affluent consumers. As we move into 2025, we seem to have entered a low point in sentiment. And I think what sets this mood apart from the years gone by is that even high earners are reducing spending. Up until this point, I think that there has been a general narrative around consumer feedback that if you are complaining about the price of luxury, that you just aren't able to afford it. You know, maybe you're too poor to buy it and that's why you've got a problem with it. And I think that this shift from even the highest of earners is really demonstrating how much it isn't about that. And I think social media has really played a hand in opening the eyes of some consumers around what they're actually receiving and whether these things do in fact have the value that people may have assumed they had. Some brands have responded though by attempting to emphasize personalization, value and heritage. However, there still seems to be this growing interest in sustainable and circular luxury, which isn't really ideal for luxury brands at retail because there seems to be more interest in buying pre-loved and vintage than there is from going in store. As a result, 2025 has seen the lowest consumer intent for almost a decade. Today's luxury consumers are more value conscious, digitally savvy and socially aware than ever before. And although some luxury brands are pivoting in an attempt to retain loyalty, I think that the future of luxury brands is more unstable and unpredictable than what some of these luxury brands might believe.